Well, guys, we're about as devoid as Hollywood on ideas, so let's talk shit about some movies that everyone else loves, but we hate. Welcome to World Class Bullshitters, where we discuss pop culture on 6th grade reading level. Welcome to World Class Bullshitters. I'm your host, Jeff Hicks, and tonight is a big show. We gotta cover the new Civil War trailer, the new Ghostbusters trailer, and get caught up on our backlog of fan mail. But before that, allow me to introduce the other Bullshitters. Dion Green.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, women and children of all ages, your mom felt so good last night.
Dan Kane.
Trump 2020.
Oh, shit. All right. Dustin McNeese.
My mom's dead, Dion, but I agree. Tighter than a 13-year-old's pussy, Trump 2016.
Hooty hoo!
America.
Fuck yeah.
Phil Seitz.
Death to Hillary.
Which one?
Clinton.
Oh, okay, I was saying, not Dion's Hillary.
Real in this motherfucker.
What'd you say?
About to get real in this motherfucker.
Are you can punch him through the internet.
You ain't even met my woman, dog!
And he never will.
You're married to Hillary Clinton?
Hell yeah, and that, you talk about tight pussy.
Let's not
Well, yeah,
talk
because
about
Bill
that.
doesn't give it to her, obviously.
Would you really want to fuck Hillary Clinton?
No.
I'd rather
No,
fuck
I'd-
Martha Stewart.
For the money, fuck yeah. Kidding me?
You don't get money. You just get shame afterwards.
You just get sad.
I will shit out of her. I will Monica Lewinsky the shit out of the whole situation.
After you become president, you just stand in the background for the rest of your life.
Hilarious.
Well, guys, I've been happy all day. Is it because I got my car back partially? But more than anything, I am pumped to talk about this new Civil War trailer that dropped this afternoon.
Fuck
So,
yes.
what I want to know first is, what did you guys think of it? Starting with you, Dion.
I am even more excited. I was a little tentative, especially with the big reveal of the big character returning to the arms and family of actual Marvel Studios, but it looked really good. It shed a little bit more light onto the story. And again, my whole thing has been worried about how it's going to compare to the storyline of Civil War, and it looked really good. I'm actually happy in the direction that they're going in, and I'm pretty pumped for it now. If more so than I was before, I mean.
So you went from a 10 to an 11?
I'd say that's very fair.
Okay. Dan.
Exactly what he said. It was a great trailer. I'm riding the hype train on this one. I can't wait.
Where did you get aboard the hype train? Is it right next to the Ho train?
There's no joining the hype train if there's a Ho train nearby.
Okay. I get hyped for the Ho train. Dustin, what'd you think, man?
I watched it 6 times, and I just kept watching it repeat. And something that jumped out to me, and I know it jumped out to a lot of other people, was the scene where immediately after Tony puts on Iron Man's glove, Winter Soldier tries blasting him in the face with a pistol, and the reaction that Robert Downey Jr. gives is fantastic, and it reminded me that there are actual legitimate actors in these films, and so that got me pumped up. This is the last comic book movie I'm excited for a while, and this trailer only elevated that excitement.
Hey, fact checker Dan, get me a list of the upcoming Marvel films between now and Infinity War Part 2, please.
Working on it.
Phil, what'd you think of the trailer?
I didn't, unlike a lot of people, I didn't know it was coming out today. I guess I'd lost touch of that. But when you guys told me, I jumped right on Facebook. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I'm not a big comic book guy, so there was one guy I didn't know. He said his name was Bone Crusher?
Crossbones.
Crossbones, I'm sorry. Well, that was...
Bone Crusher the rapper?
Wasn't he in Def Jam Vendetta, the game?
Yeah, because he ain't scared.
Bone saws ready, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So Crossbone, was that the guy that they ripped out of the S.H.I.E.L.D. building after Winter Soldier?
Yeah, when he goes all fucked up.
Okay, see, I didn't know who that was. I thought Black Panther looked awesome. I can't wait to see what he does in the film. And, of course, spoiler alert, Spider-Man's there.
No.
No.
Well, Aaron, I'll pick up the Spider-Man slack.
And I was about to say, I'm curious as to what you think of Spider-Man, Jeff, because you are the biggest Spider-Man fan of all of us.
Clearly, and probably of anyone you know. I'm holding a little Spider-Man figure now as I talk. I loved this trailer. I was pumped. I actually recorded a reaction, and then I realized I was an asshole if I uploaded it to YouTube, so I deleted it.
Good man.
And I also spent 4 minutes staring into a...
Mark.
You can say that again. Like you guys said, it looked awesome. I was already pumped. I was ready to go day one. And then the last 5 seconds, they tacked on Spider-Man, and I went, oh. Because I was like, you saw Ant-Man on that arrow. That looked fucking cool when he ran up Iron Man's arm. You had the Falcon. I mean, he was actually upset over the whole events of Sokovia and all that other shit. You had all these other great moments. When Black Panther jumped over that fucking car, that looked sweet. And then Spider-Man just kind of like lands and he's like, hey guys, and he looks like a cartoon character.
I thought his name was Underoos. I thought that's Tony Stark.
And then he had a stupid fucking, I hate his costume. Well, I don't hate his costume. It's like 70% good. Yeah, really. I mean, first off, I'm looking at a picture right now. Those armbands or arrows around his shoulders look stupid. I don't really see a purpose of that.
That was the comic in which the suit looked like this one?
Not really. People on the internet are going, oh, it looks just like John Romita. Oh, it looks like Steve Ditko. They don't know dick about what Spider-Man actually looks like when it's drawn by a specific artist. They're just looking at the mask. I mean, it looks like Spider-Man, clearly. They just have tried to add their own flourishes to it. I don't know. I don't really, like I said, I don't love the extra black portions they add. If they were to take those out and make them solid red webbing, I'd be all on board for the actual look. I just feel too stupid. And he's got those wristbands that are those web shooters. Like I said to you, Dustin, earlier, why can't people just accept it's underneath the glove? Do we have to see everything? I mean, if we can accept that he climbs up a wall, why can't we just... a web would just come out from under his glove. So, that's just me being nitpicky. But trailer was awesome. I'm ready. Captain America looks...
suit being mechanical.
I think it's stupid. I don't think Spider-Man should be even in this movie. They did all this shit without Spider-Man. I mean, they took all these B-list characters and made them A-list, mainstream, everyone loved them characters. Thor was a fucking joke before those movies came out. No one gave a shit about Thor. But you get the right guy to play it, you put them in the right situations, and you create your own universe out of what you have. I mean, Marvel Cinematic Universe is awesome because all their A-list characters were at other studios, and they made their own A-list characters. So...
right, but
it just
wouldn't it kind of be like them doing a Justice League movie without Superman? If Superman,
no, because Spider-Man's not a card character. I think a big member of the Avengers. When I think Avengers, Spider-Man's not on that list. It's Cap, Thor, Iron Man, Ant-Man, the Wasp. Nick Fury's involved.
Right,
you got the Vision.
Because Spider-Man is Marvel's biggest character, so
yes.
Kind of to have a Marvel, by far the greatest run of movies Marvel has had, whether it's directly involved or not. You know, isn't it kind of, important that they, not just for comic book fans, but in terms of the brand, to have Spider-Man be a part of that, especially since Spider-Man's had such a shitty run for the last 7 years?
Well, they created their own Marvel brand without him, and that just speaks volumes for what they're able to do. They don't need him. It's like, I really can't compare it to anything else off the top of my head, but he's just not necessary. He almost feels out of place because the Marvel Universe is just adults doing this shit. Now I got a fucking kid. Like, I don't really care about a kid.
I said that was kind of weird to me that if he is on Tony Stark's team, is Captain America going to be willing to punch a fucking 12-year-old in the face? You know what
I would hope so.
Like, it seems like it's going to add a weird dynamic if these heroes are fighting. Who's going to look like an asshole by beating up a child?
Man up and beat the fuck out of him.
He was beating on Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver, and they were, freedom fighters, and he acknowledged that.
There's nothing wrong with hitting women. I'm talking kids.
But Spider-Man doesn't. I mean, in that shot, he does not look like a kid. I mean, he's supposed to be 17 in this movie or something.
But listen to his voice. Hey guys, he sounds like a little boy.
Right?
Like, really? I'm gonna hit this kid?
I mean, but he doesn't look like a kid. I mean, he's obviously, his introduction is webbing Captain America's hands together. He,
we know that the character is young, but I mean, he's gonna be
huge. Well, I shouldn't say that as all matter of fact, but he's supposed to be a huge character in this movie.
I don't think I don't think he's supposed to be big. I think he's just like, hey,
you
got Spider-Man now. Yeah, almost shoehorned in. It'd be like having Han Solo flashbacks in the next Star Wars movie. It just wouldn't make sense. I mean, that part's over. This Marvel universe doesn't exist with Spider-Man.
But
it's going to be even more jarring once like the X-Men show up and the Fantastic Four and all that other shit.
Yeah, I can see that.
Now, I did notice, and other people pointed out, that Thor wasn't in the trailer, and they're guessing that he is on Valhalla while this is all happening.
Yeah, he's not in this movie at all.
Okay.
Him and the Hulk aren't in it. Because remember, this isn't technically an Avengers flick. It's a Captain America flick with just other Avengers in it.
This is supposed to be this running parallel to Ragnarok, right?
I would think so, because that comes out next year. Hey, speaking of Dan, after Civil War, what comes out next?
Doctor Strange comes out in November.
Ooh.
Guardians comes out in May, next May. Spider-Man next July. Thor next November. Black Panther in February 2018, and then Avengers Part 1.
Black Panther and Black History Month? Okay.
Of course.
I'm down.
It's on so many levels.
He looked so cool in that trailer. That suit looks legit. When he got shot by the helicopter, he just turns around like, what the fuck? I was ready. See, that's the kind of shit I'm talking about. Marvel takes unestablished characters in film and turns them into something awesome. Like, every one of their characters is hit. Name a single Marvel cinematic superhero that sucked.
Right. I would even argue that Ant-Man has become bigger than Spider-Man in the movies just in the past 2 years alone.
Yeah, because Spider-Man's coming off a train wreck of a series called The Amazing Spider-Man franchise, which they're all garbage. And Ant-Man was in an unexpected hit. We all saw Ant-Man. I thought it was excellent.
Oh, that's my wife's favorite of the whole lot.
Shebang-a-bang.
Well, Dustin, or Dion, what do you think of it? You like Ant-Man, right?
I loved Ant-Man. I thought I don't know if I go as far as to say he's bigger than Spider-Man right now, but I think that it was. I mean, you saw my reaction when he went to a fucking the Avengers complex and was fighting Falcon. I mean, I was like, holy fucking shit, you know. And Ant-Man, if there's any like great bridge movie or any, I guess, small list character that's gonna be in Civil War, I'm almost more excited for Ant-Man than I am for Black Panther.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, to be honest with you, because Paul Rudd just did an amazing job, and to see how, you know, because we haven't visually seen how Ant-Man's going to interact with anyone, you know, especially with, you know, high-powered names like Captain America and Iron Man and Winter Soldier. I'm excited. I can't fucking wait.
I can't wait to see how the Falcon acts with Cap since the Winter Soldier's back. Because remember, Cap and Falcon were partners, so I wonder how the Winter Soldier's going to change their relationship.
Well, especially since in the first trailer when he's just like, you know, I want to explore all of our options because whoever shoots at you ends up shooting at me. So like to see like that small foray into, you know, Falcon's like, I mean, is it smart for me to be following Cap in every situation? You know, I agree with you on that, man. It's going to be very, especially seeing as how, you know, that it's no small thing that Bucky essentially kicked him off of a fucking helicarrier trying to kill him. So
yeah, it's gonna be good.
But yeah, man, I'm super excited for that shit. Like I said, how they interact, what's gonna be going on between the characters, it's gonna be phenomenal. Especially, I just want to know, you know, what's the cause of them fighting now? Like, who's behind, who's pulling the strings? Because that's probably this other big thing that I'm waiting for. Is it going to be Thanos? Is it going to be somebody else? I can't wait.
I hope. Well, who do you think's going to die in this movie?
No one.
No one. I hope no one. You know what? I would love if Spider-Man got killed off.
The trailer makes it look like Rhodey dies, but clearly they're not going to reveal that in a trailer. And clearly, nobody in Marvel actually dies and stays dead except for Quicksilver. So,
well, you know, this isn't Batman versus Superman where they give you the whole plot in 3 minutes. So,
and then try to fucking bait and switch you and lie, saying, "Oh, there's more shit coming in this movie." Like, no, there isn't.
Speaking of, are you way more excited for this movie than Batman vs Superman?
That goes without saying.
Yeah, just full time.
You had to ask that?
I want to be fair to both Marvel and DC for the people that message me and go, you guys don't like DC. Well, there's a reason we don't like the DCEU. They fucking suck. Man of Steel is a shit film.
Garbage.
It's boring. It's boring. I wouldn't say shit, but it's very, very meh for what they were trying to accomplish.
Is it better than Superman 1, 2, or 3?
Better than 3.
Really? Even over Richard Pryor?
Are you? Are we talking about the same movie?
Yeah, well, at least Superman 3, he actually did some Superman-like stuff. It's like, it's like, oh, I gotta put out a fire. So he fucking freezes a lake with his ice breath and drops it over a chemical plant. That's cool Superman shit. He doesn't destroy a city because he's an unprepared dick.
Right. No, I agree with that, but it also, even if you take out the time difference, I mean, I am a lot more interested in Henry Cavill's Superman than I am with, outside of, I think the only thing that is better in 3 is the whole bad Superman thing. Like, him fighting himself in the junkyard is really fucking cool, but I think him fighting Zod and Zod yelling like a crazy person just puts it over Superman 3 for me.
Well, I think the original Zod, Terrence Stamp, is way better than Michael Shannon.
Oh, yeah, I think that goes without saying.
Kneel before Zod!
I mean, they fucking remodeled the character to resemble him. That's how awesome he was.
Hey, he was great. He's one of those casting choices that it just seems so natural. So I was pumped. Okay, I was gonna ask what you're more excited for, but I shouldn't even ask anymore. Batman vs Superman is not even on our radar as like an exciting event anymore, is it?
No, I'm pop culture wise, but that's about it.
We'll see it for the show, but
yeah, I'm excited to review it. I'm not excited to see it.
I think it's going to be a 2-hour snooze fest, meaning it'll have a lot of stuff on screen, but there won't be anything more going on that, like subtext. I think this Civil War has, 8 years of build-up?
Yeah.
I'm excited. I've been watching, I watched Avengers, I watched Captain America Winter Soldier, and I watched Age of Ultron today just to get prepared for this shit. And I'm excited.
You know what? I mean, even if we were to fucking, do, WCBS thing even prior to Civil War dropping, I mean, I wouldn't fight it because it's such a, as big as Batman vs Superman is supposed to be and as huge of a ball as they've dropped trying to get people excited for it. I think that Civil War is just going to not only blow it out of the water, it's going to do.
Even my fucking mom is talking about it because she grew up; those were big cultural icons. So for a 45-year-old woman, we were watching TV and the commercial came on, and she goes, "Oh, I picked Batman." I'm like, "Bitch, number one, you should pick Captain America, Iron Man, and 2, Superman would fucking destroy Batman."
Well, so Dustin, you're telling me that in that trailer, when Superman went to punch Batman and Batman caught his fist, your dick didn't get hard? You didn't go, "Oh my god, DC for life!"
I will say that they have name recognition on their side just from, a lifetime of people growing up with them in the mainstream, but I am proud of Marvel for catching up in a very short amount of time.
Yeah, in 8 years, they've almost made DC an afterthought.
Catching up and surpassing.
Oh, God, yeah. Look at what they put out for... Okay, so Iron Man and The Dark Knight came out the same year. Yeah, The Dark Knight's widely regarded, but Iron Man's no joke. That's, in my opinion, just as good of a film. It's not going to be exactly the same. And then you had Green Lantern and Dark Knight Rises come out, and then DC's kind of been quiet, and then Man of Steel. So they had, 4 films as opposed to Marvel's, 12?
Yeah, somewhere around that.
And all the Marvel ones have been hits. Every one. None of them have been flops. I don't think they ever need to worry about flopping. I think if Batman vs Superman flops, it's going to start causing superhero fatigue, and that'll hurt Marvel's business.
I don't think so. I think Marvel's built a strong enough brand where even if everyone else is trying to make comic book movies, you'll be like, yeah, it's a comic book movie, but it'll be good enough that you will be like, okay, I still want to see it, even though it's a comic book movie, as opposed to, fucking DC and WB trying to force it down your throat just because they have a fucking costume on.
Now, do you think... Oh, I'm sorry.
I was going to say, do you think people are smart enough to know the difference? I know people that think Batman and Spider-Man can exist on the same page.
And that was my question. Sorry.
Oh, no, you know what? I don't think that they're smart enough to differentiate that. But I think that since, you brought up The Dark Knight, that was a good example of, that essentially, that's a comic book movie, but people, it was more of a Batman movie than it was a comic book movie. And, I think Avengers is going to be more of an Avengers movie than a comic book movie. I mean, especially with even the fucking Netflix shows are phenomenal, so I think that their quality is going to overshadow the fact that these are all in the same genre
No, but I think the question is, though, I mean, if Batman versus Superman does flop and flop hard, if people can't differentiate between Marvel and DC, then you would have to argue that it would hurt Marvel and cause comic book fatigue for every company, correct?
That's my stance.
I'd still think no. I mean, it'd be like having, any two competing companies. One's really shitty. It just pushes everyone to the other.
But you said that the regular people aren't smart enough to know the difference between Marvel and DC.
No, but they're smart enough to know what's at least a good movie, especially if it looks really good.
But if Marvel's built up this brand and they think Marvel and DC are one and the same, and they release a massive stinker, that's going to turn them off. They're like, oh, that last one was garbage.
Well, my only counter to that is, Green Lantern, a really shitty movie, and that came out, 2011?
Yeah.
So, Avengers was 2012, so, about a year later. And Green Lantern was a really shitty movie. Outside of Ryan Reynolds kind of being entertaining, it was about as fucking mediocre as a comic book movie can get. I mean, it was dumbed down to get people excited for DC, and still Marvel, Avengers comes out the next year and is setting records. So I think that even if Batman and Superman is a shitty, absolute shit film, we at least have Civil War coming out, and people can say, okay, well, at least we have one company who clearly knows what they're doing. And even if someone, I'll wait for Spider-Man to show up in Justice League, and someone says, well, he's not going to be in there, I'll say, oh, well, I'll still watch the Spider-Man movie over Justice League.
Good point with Green Lantern. Good point.
Out of the upcoming films that Dan listed off, which ones do you think will not catch the audience eye?
Doctor Strange.
Ooh, we can't say that though, man, with certainty, because look at Guardians of the Galaxy. You had a tree and a talking raccoon, and people went nuts for that movie.
I just want Doctor Strange to fail because I hate that fucking actor.
That's not a fair...
I didn't say it was fair. I just said that I hate him.
To be
Why
fair,
do you hate him, Dustin?
What's that?
Why do you hate him?
Because I like my actors to be attractive, and he's not, and he's overrated, and he has a dumb name and a British accent. That's like 18 strikes. What?
Phil, you're cutting out bad. What'd you say?
Women find him very attractive.
So there are a lot of motherfuckers that are attractive as shit that can't fucking, carry a film. And I like Benedict Cumberbatch, but yeah, I'm worried as shit for Doctor Strange.
I'm actually the most excited for Doctor Strange because we're going to have... Okay, Guardians took us to outer space, and Doctor Strange is going to deal with the mystic arts. It's going to take us to different dimensions, and it's really going to open up the Marvel Universe, and it's going to prime people to accept this Infinity War where you're going to have interdimensional space travel and all this other shit. I'm most excited because it's going to be the most different. Everything else is kind of... Well, it's like, okay, Black Panther's on our planet. It's just going to be about an African king. Okay, that's the story. Doctor Strange can go anywhere. We don't even know if he's going to face the Dread Dormammu or is Baron Mordo involved. It's exciting to me.
No, I'm excited, but I just think that the whole magic thing is what is worrying me. I think that, especially with World of Warcraft coming out, I don't want there to be this, because, movies based on magic, it's just so hard for me to follow as is, because it's just like, at least with, science fantasy and science fiction, there's some kind of grounded story. But magic, it's like, it's just a different cup of tea, man. I'm worried for it.
Now, Thor deals with magic. Thor deals with magic. Remember?
Exactly.
Right, but Thor is, he said, well, for us it's science, for you it's...
I mean, the stones are basically magic.
Right, but he's not casting spells. Doctor Strange is going to be doing hand waving and spell casting and all that shit. At least with Thor, there's a brute reality to it where it's like, hey, at the end of the day, the dude carries a hammer and there's swords and shit. I just...
You know what, Dion? We don't agree often, but yeah, Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, all that shit's too gay for my taste.
Same here with me. I hate all that shit. I've never sat through a Harry Potter film, and I won't.
Ditto.
I just don't have the patience for anything.
No, I knew Dion was using that exact same sentence as I was, so. Now, do you think that... we've only seen the trailer, but do you think he's going to look so badass in Civil War that that's going to draw people to see his standalone film? Because based off the trailer, I'm down to watch whatever he's in. Do you think that it's going to be a big enough role to but get a big enough audience to watch that film.
I think so.
I think that'll probably be the main story too.
I think once you put anything with Marvel on it, they will watch it. Like, we're at the point where it's like, they'll see that little red box with the word Marvel in it in white, and be like, ah, okay.
Call it Marvel and they will come.
So do you guys have anything else to say about the trailer?
I don't.
Dan?
It was good.
Dustin?
No, it was probably the best Marvel trailer I've seen so far. It is pretty funny, though, that every trailer nowadays uses like a slow piano rendition of whatever the main theme is. That's a trend that could probably stop. But
don't worry, we'll talk about that trend in a few minutes when we talk about our main feature.
Oh.
If you like movies, go see this movie. If you like comic book movies, go see this movie. If you have a soul, go see this movie.
If you are alive, watch the movie.
But skip Batman vs. Superman. We all agree? No, sure, we'll see. Okay.
Us seeing it has nothing to do with the fact that we don't want to see it.
We're only seeing it for your listening fit pleasure.
This is our job, America, and if this movie sucks, I'm fucking blaming you.
It means no more hand jobs from Dion.
That's right. You guys are cut off for at least for 364 days.
No, we don't mean that. As a matter of fact, subscribe now. Click that little button at the bottom of the video, and you will get the greatest hand job of your life. Compliments of that man, Dion Green.
You got me.
Oh, you guys. Oh, that Affleck. Okay, guys, well, let's stay on the topic of superheroes since they're all the rage and we all really like superheroes. Let's talk about this week's debate. What is the best superhero costume committed on film? And you can include TV. And the only rule is that it can't be a full CGI character like Dr. Manhattan or the Incredible Hulk. So, Dion.
Yes.
I always introduce you first. Why don't you go first this time? Name your suit.
Well, for me, I kept it simple, and it's one of my favorite comic book movies. For me, I love the outfit from Blade, the original one, or not original, but the outfit that he had from the first movie. I love it because it was simple, it looked badass, it was imposing, it made him imposing as a character. It was different from the actual comic book character. It was very reflective of the time period, the late 90s, going into the new millennium. And if anything, it was just fucking badass, especially the beginning of the movie. They're in the club, the vampires are about to kill this poor, skinny white man, and he fucking, the blood's coming down, he looks up, and everyone's covered in blood except this dude in leather pants, fucking body armor, and a leather jacket and sunglasses, and it's fucking Blade. And that moment, the shit is about to hit the fan, and this dude's gonna fucking kill everyone. It's my favorite one.
I saw that movie in theaters, and for 5 minutes, I wanted a flat top, just like Wesley Snipes.
I was in Atlanta when I finally saw it, when it came on video at my aunt's, and I was just like, I want a haircut just fucking like that. And then my mom's like, no. And then that was the end of that discussion.
That was pretty much the end of my discussion, too. My mom's like, you don't have that kind of hair. And I went, okay.
Who the fuck pronounces it aunt?
Educated motherfuckers?
Yeah.
I don't know. I've always referred to her as my Aunt Pat, and that's always the right way. Anyway, Dan, why don't you go?
I was thinking who looked good in a film, and the one that mainly showed up for me was Batman in the Dark Knight.
Ooh, okay. Controversial choice at times. Tell us why.
Because it looks like a badass costume straight off the bat. And
I see what you did there.
Fully functional because he could actually turn his fucking head in the movie.
Okay, so form and function. Now, how do you rank it compared to the other suits?
Let's see.
I mean, obviously you put that as number one, but what's your second favorite Bat costume? Give me a top three.
Second favorite, Batman 89.
Oh, good choice. Okay, you saved it. You might win this debate after all. Hey, Dustin.
Yes.
Your choice.
All right, bear with me here, and hopefully we can hear this. Dustin's Journal, March 10th, 2016. This podcast is afraid of me. I've seen its true face. The internet is a digital gutter, and the gutter is full of period blood, and when the rains finally scab over, all the virgins will drown. accumulated filth of all their wrong opinions and retardation will form up about their waist, and all the liberals and diabetics will look up and shout, "Let us win for once." And I'll whisper, "No." Walter Kovacs, a.k.a. Rorschach, has a very simple yet unique attire. Now, in the same way that most...
No, stop talking. Moving on. Phil.
Don't laugh and where no one hears what you're saying, so just give me a fucking minute.
Just a second. You hand me a period blood.
I'm starting to sweat.
I pull out. I can't top that.
I'm sweating. Oh my god.
Yeah, me too. This shit is fucking hilarious.
Retardation.
When you said they're gonna fill up with the virgins, I'm like, that's gonna be a lot of people on the internet because no one is getting laid online.
Did Dustin convert to Islam? What the fuck was that about? The fucking virgins. Oh my god. All right.
87.
Whew,
Go ahead, Dustin. Sorry,
Okay,
that was.
no worries. I'm glad it went over. I was scared that it would just get dead silent, so that was a good reaction.
Oh, don't worry, you're not
shit.
me.
Okay, so Walter Kovacs, a.k.a. Rorschach, is my pick. He has a very simple attire, except for, of course, his unique mask. Now, he was modeled after Steve Ditko's characters, The Question and Mr. No, with the whole, Dick Tracy kind of detective gear. But what separates him, as I said, was the mask. Now, the mask is actually connected to his character more than I think any other mask in a character are connected. He used to work for a dressmaker, and they had just got this new fabric in, and it had two different kinds of inks, black and white, and they would blend together but never become gray. It was always, a symmetrical Rorschach painting, and there was this customer named Kitty Genovese, and she was going to be the first one to buy this fabric for a dress, but she said she hated it. Well, that night, she went home, she was stabbed to death and raped while she was dying, and Walter Kovacs, hearing the story, was inspired to that very night become the Rorschach. And so he took that fabric from that dress she didn't use, and he constructed himself a mask. And, of course, we all know the rest is history. He became one of the greatest characters of all time. Mm-hmm. He associates that mask with his identity so much that he calls it his actual face. Now, I picked him, one, for my love of Watchmen, but two, because most other superheroes, they're in, skin-tight tights, or they have capes or whatever, but that fucking mask, I've never seen anything like it, and the fact that it has such a cool backstory that I butchered because I'm out of breath from my big, long, stupid speech, I didn't do it justice, but the fact is, the coolest mask in the history of comics, it's always changing, it's always symmetrical, and the black and white personifies his commitment to morality and that there is good and evil and there's no in between.
Excellent. Phil.
Well, Dan took mine, so
I knew it.
I'm gonna go with Deadpool. I've always liked the costume from the images that I've seen, but then they brought it to life in the movie. I thought they did a great job with it, especially with the eyes. I know it's CG and that's against your rule, but
no, the only rule is it can't be a full CGI character.
Oh, okay. Well,
so the eyes are fine.
I mean, he wears it because it keeps him from seeing when he gets shot or hurt, and then it serves its primary purpose. It keeps people from seeing his ugly ass face. So it works, and he's an awesome character to wear.
Okay. Well, my choice is obviously Spider-Man from the Sam Raimi movie, specifically Spider-Man 2, but the reason I chose is when I think of a comic book movie, I want to see an on-screen interpretation that takes what I've seen on a comic book page my whole life and makes it real. And I don't think any movie superhero suit has done it as close as the second Spider-Man costume. The only reason I don't pick the first one, and there's only a slight difference, is there's no webbing on the palms of his hands, and the blue's a little too dark. But the instant I saw that, I knew it was Spider-Man. I didn't have to sit and look at it and go, is this supposed to be like Spider-Man, like I did with the Amazing Spider-Man costume that looked like a basketball? And Spider-Man's suit's supposed to be simple. I mean, he's a poor guy. When people go online and bitch that, oh, how could he afford that suit? I mean, yeah, it's got raised webbing, but there's really nothing lavish about it. I mean, Iron Man's got fucking everything in the world on his costume. Spider-Man just wears a suit. But I just am going to harp on the fact that it's so close to the comics, and it makes it real, and that's why I chose it as my personal favorite.
I like it. I like it now. Do you think it's aged the best from movie to movie?
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to... What do you mean, like, between Spider-Man 1 through 3, does the suit age well?
Well,
Or do you mean, like, over time? Like, even with others...
From now, including all the Spider-Man movies, do you think that the suit still has...
I will say that the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man costume was so good on its first try that you could put it in any superhero film, modern or old, and it would fit in. So I don't care how advanced the Avengers get. If you put that exact Spider-Man in Civil War or Infinity Gauntlet or whatever comes out for the next 20 years, it'll fit in because that's what Spider-Man looks like. It's not an interpretation. It's not trying to be too modern or too different. They just stuck with Spider-Man's suit. I mean, it's got the exact... I mean, the only slight difference is the boots, and you wouldn't even notice it unless you're me. So, I feel that strongly about it. And I even like the reflective sunglass lenses because why would he have pure white eyes? That looks weird. Like, what would you see out of? Like, if you were going to make this costume, Dion, what would you put over your eyes to hide them? Sunglasses or something like that. You wouldn't get some futuristic technology that's in the new one that looks like a camera shutter every time you open and shut your eyes.
Right. No, yeah, that makes sense, especially for, how it looks.
And I mean, and another thing, he designed his own suit. Yeah, I mean, Blade threw together his outfit, but I mean, Spider-Man just sat down, and it shows it in the movie. It showed him sit down and draw the suit, and he had failed designs, and he even tried a wrestling costume. But once he got his shit together, he designed that suit. So it's as big a part of Spider-Man's character as anything, really. That's why they don't change it much in the comics. Batman's had 1,000,001 different suits. Iron Man's had so many different armors. But Spider-Man's costume has essentially been the same since the first day it ever appeared in Amazing Fantasy number 15.
Same as Deadpool. Deadpool's suit hasn't really changed that much.
Way more, dude. Deadpool, if you look at a picture, I could show you a picture of Spider-Man from 1962, and I could tell you it's from last issue of Spider-Man, and you'd buy it. You wouldn't know the difference. I mean, Deadpool came out in the 90s, and 90s comics don't look anything like today's comics, and his suit's just completely different. I mean, it's black and red, but that's like saying Batman's always worn a black cape and cowl. The first Batman suit looks nothing like the Batman vs. Superman costume.
Not at all.
Well, no. I mean, everything gets modernized.
Not Spider-Man's costume. They kind of hit it out of the park right away. I mean, the only slight difference is the webbing under the arms.
Talking about the between the not the design, but the web between the. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's been the black suit, and there's been like other suits that he's worn, but that red and blue suit's always been the same. I mean, hell, even though I don't like the Civil War suit, it's the fucking same suit essentially. Same web pattern, same blue to black and red ratio, and all this other shit. So I mean, it's a strong design.
Talking about the Stark Spidey suit.
To me, it looks modern. To me, it looks more modern. It looks like Stark got a hold of it and changed it.
That's fine. I'm not saying that. All I'm trying to say is that the design of Spider-Man in general is so strong. They've never ever changed it enough to where it looks so different.
Plus, he's talking about the Spider-Man costume from the Tobey Maguire movie, not the one that's coming out with Civil War.
In a roundabout way, I was just saying there's one Spider-Man design, and they did it the best in Spider-Man 2. Do you guys want to argue why yours is better than any of the others, or what?
I mean, we could, yeah. I don't see why not.
How does anybody follow Dustin's intro?
Hell no. Fuck, I'm not going to just relinquish just because he can cut a fucking promo on Virgins, Rorschach, and Period Blood. I mean,
and to be fair, I'm going to let the listeners decide since I'm arguing, because, I mean, I would like a fair chance to win, so I can't say, I win. That's not fair.
Right. I mean... So
we'll let the listeners decide. So just argue like your life depends on it, guys. Come on.
Well, I mean, like I said before, I think Blades is better than the ones described, obviously, because it's so different from what the character was. I mean, it was, the character was essentially blaxploitation, and then he comes out in the 90s and he looks more intimidating than any other characters on this list, outside of, the closest obviously would be Rorschach, but that's more because he's crazy in the face. But the whole getup for Blade is simple, and it's it's all black, the black leather jacket, and then it's functional. It's body armor. So you see it in the movie. He gets shot in the chest, and it's body armor underneath it. It's like I said, that just from that one shot, I mean, that he looks intimidating as fuck. And then obviously it being Blade, it's functional, fully functional as far as using a sword, using guns, using throwable fucking boomerang blades. He looks like a badass.
No, I know, it's so cool that Roman Reigns comes out to the ring.
Well, I mean, I don't see Roman Reigns or anyone else coming out with a fucking trench coat, a bowler hat, and a goddamn dress on his face.
Believe that.
Yeah.
I will say, in everyone's defense, you all picked excellent choices that, if I had to argue them, I could be passionate about, because Blade looks sweet.
I know, I love everyone's choices, so that's why it's so hard for me to be like, fuck.
And here's the thing, dude, like, okay, Blade in the 90s looked like shit. Not the movie, I'm talking about, like, in the comics. He wore, like, the biker jacket with the tucked-in boots. He looked like an idiot, especially in that Spider-Man cartoon. But that movie came out, and the cool thing about the Blade film in general is no one really knew, unless they read the little caption in the beginning, which a lot of people don't even read credits, that it was a Marvel movie. It wasn't marketed as a comic book film. I saw it in theaters. I had no clue it was really based on a comic book. And I even liked Spider-Man, where Blade appeared. So Blade was just out of nowhere, and it was so fucking good. I mean, it doesn't get enough praise anymore. Everyone's like, oh, X-Men was the first big hit of a Marvel film. Nah, Blade. Blade was a big hit.
And I said it in my last debate. I mean, I think that Spawn and Blade were what kicked off not just comic book movies, but, the fact that comic book movies could be violent. I mean, the fucking first scene in the movie is blood is raining from the ceiling. And then, like I said, I keep coming back to it, that upward pan when he's looking up and he just sees this fucking hulking black dude who's there to fucking kill people. And throughout the entire movie, he doesn't have to, for all intents and purposes, he ever really loses, his look doesn't change. It's that same suit, and especially in the end when he puts on the chest armor when he's fighting Frost.
Deacon Frost.
Yeah, it looks fucking phenomenal. It's something that he could throw on and he's ready to fucking go, and he can take some serious damage even if he wasn't half vampire.
Yours and Dan's specifically are all function over form.
Right.
Like,
right.
Yeah, Batman chooses a bat because he's afraid of bats, but that Dark Knight suit is strictly created out of necessity to turn his head and to avoid the dog bites and all that shit.
Right.
And Dustin, I think you picked the best of the Watchmen suits, because I think Night Owl 2 looks stupid, and I think Ozymandias looks like a little kid in a muscle suit. Like, that actor Matthew Good's just too skinny to, like, actually fit that costume. You can see, like, a visible gap around his neck where the suit sits, and it looks kind of funny.
Yeah, no, and I wish I could have picked Dr. Manhattan, because I think it's the coolest looking thing, but no CGI, so I got you.
Well, that's the reason. I knew you would pick. Look, I wasn't trying to stack the deck against you, but when you can go into a computer and, like, alter anything about it, I think that's an unfair advantage.
That'd be like it was fun getting to play with Rorschach and parody one of his journals. It was actually a fun exercise.
All right, cool. I was worried. I wasn't trying to pick on you, but, like, that'd be like if I picked the Incredible Hulk. It'd be like, well, you can model his face to look any way you want, and you can make him look so believable. I think with all these other characters, they're actually actors in a costume that make you see, like, oh shit, this is a real character now. We're not looking at a cartoon.
Well, plus, my whole thing is if there's an action sequence, if there's an action sequence with the Hulk, Mark Ruffalo's not there. Edward Norton wasn't there doing those scenes. It was, when you can build the whole scene from a computer, that kind of takes away not only the level of the difference in action that the actors do in these other movies compared to that, but it just kind of takes away from, it doesn't look, it looks realistic when it looks good, but you still you're like, at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, that's not really a person though, so they can do whatever they want.
All they did was motion capture with his face. That was it.
Right. Same thing.
But, I mean, you want to talk about simple and functionality. What about Deadpool? I mean, his suit is so simple. It's just red and black with the hood, the swords, and obviously his utility belt and his gun holsters. But you want to talk about functionality. It serves the only three purposes that he needs. It keeps people from seeing all the blood, and then he doesn't have to keep making a new costume. He invented his costume in the movie. He went with the white suit, and that didn't work very well, obviously. And then the functionality is to, that's what he does. He takes bullets, he takes the shots, he takes the blades, the knives, and you don't even see any of that until it heals, right? I mean, that's simple and that's functionality.
My bad. My only thing with Deadpool is, is for the sake of the conversation, the only reason why he is kind of the first one off of Suit Island is because almost every aspect of Deadpool's because of someone else. So, even if you want to go with the character, he was copied after Spider-Man's outfit, and then, even his personality, he hates Wolverine, and then, he has, the red is just so people don't see him bleed, and then it's because, his face is messed up and he's self-conscious about his face. There's just a lot of extra baggage that comes with that costume where I'm just kind of like, I don't, get off the table. Get off the table.
I like how you call it Suit Island.
Yeah, thank you. I was off the top of my head.
I think we should make a real place called Suit Island.
Agreed.
We should go on vacation there and record a podcast.
It'd be fantastic. A lot of drinks, a lot of fucking naked-ass women.
Yep, that's all it would be. Drinks and naked women.
Woo!
And if you're not on this show, you can't go.
Exactly. Sorry.
Unless you're Noah R., then you can come on Suit Island.
And Aubrey Plaza, because watching you masturbate in your bathroom really makes me want you to be on Suit Island.
Aubrey Plaza can come on anything, and I'll be there.
Agreed.
It's a fucking kid show.
Yeah, watch your fucking language. Hey, Dan, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
No.
All right. I guess we've pretty much exhausted this topic, too, so let's let our listeners decide, because, like I said, I'm involved in the debate, and I can't, unless I take myself out of the situation, I would have just wasted your time. So we'll let you guys decide, and I'll announce the winners later on air. Well, guys, we have talked about all the fun stuff for this week, and now it is time to talk about the shit. So after the high that was the Civil War trailer, we have to discuss the low, the new Ghostbusters.
We have to.
Hey, let me tell you why we have to. Tonight's topic came from our listener Sci-Fi Savage. He asked us, aren't you guys going to discuss the new trailer of Ghostbusters? I want to see that piece of garbage buried. Now, as I said to Sci-Fi Savage, ask and you shall receive. And by the way, tonight's episode is brought to you by The Triggering. The Triggering, pissing off extremists and feminazis since 2016. So let's get into the bullshit that is this new Ghostbusters trailer. And I'll say one thing before we start. I watched the trailers, I watched reviews of the trailers, and I watched the original Ghostbusters film today just to get prepared for this topic. So I have a lot to say. So I'll go later. Dustin, what would you like to say about the trailer first?
The first thing that jumped out at me, and can we include the international trailer that dropped?
Oh, of course, it's online, it counts.
So the woman that's a police officer, she and fat ass Melissa McCarthy are gonna jump in the crowd to crowd surf to get to the back of the room to chase something or other. Melissa McCarthy jumps and everyone catches her and passes her along, and then she jumps and nobody catches her. And her immediate response is, now I don't know if that was a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm mad as hell. And I'm wondering, why does that have to be a thing? Can anyone answer that? Can anyone answer why that has to be a thing in a movie?
It's a big problem because you have to preface everything you say about this movie to make sure you're not a racist or a sexist, and I don't think that's going to deflect this movie from criticism. And when you bring up those points, I think they're trying to put them out in your face so you know to back down.
It's immediately it's going if it's that whole meta thing well, if you don't like it, it's because like you said you're either a racist or a sexist, and I'm just I just want to watch a movie to enjoy myself. I'm sick of this shit being thrown in my goddamn face.
It would be nice if the trailer started out instead of saying 4 scientists saved New York 30 years ago, which isn't accurate because Winston was not a scientist. He was just the everyman and the voice of the audience who just came on to get a job. And that's another thing. The SJWs that are championing this movie are now hating on it because the black lady's not a scientist like the white women. Well, if you're ripping off Ghostbusters, which you are already, why make her a scientist? Winston was never a scientist. He was just a dude.
They're never happy. They just got to shit on everything.
I know, and it's fucked up. I don't like the insert noun version of anything. Women Ghostbusters, Kid Avengers, or Black James Bond. And, just, certain things exist. Treat them like they're real in their world. Don't try to fucking warp them for a modern-day audience. If you're out of ideas, you're creatively bankrupt, take a chance with something that's not as well known. I think this movie is going to piss off Ghostbusters fans and people in general that like movies and just turn them off. I don't think this movie has an audience anymore.
Well, not only that, the very last scene when the guy that plays Thor is showing them his designs, here's another moment that felt, like a meta commentary. They're like, that's offensive when he drew the ghost with boobs. And are they trying to tell you that it's not okay to view this as the female version of Ghostbusters? Like, what do they want? What do they want from this?
Well, they want money, first of all. But I know what you're saying, and you can't really win with this kind of argument. It's fucked up.
I mean, I'm looking at the trailer. Like, I paused it on this last scene where all the ghosts appear in Times Square. I mean, the ghosts look like shit. I mean, especially the one I don't understand the tall circus-looking one. That's retarded.
Yeah, the Jack Skellington ripoff.
Yeah, they look terrible. They at least when they did the ghosts in the old movies, they look like people. They're a little scary. They look like ghosts, and there's you can see through them or whatever. But they look like people. These don't look like people. They look like extras out of a Thriller music video.
You were talking about meta commentary, Dustin. Okay, so they said, this is the female Ghostbusters, even if they don't want you to say that. So they make everything cutesy and bright colored and stuff. Are they? At the same time, it's like they're trying to empower women, and I say that in quotations. But at the same time, they're questioning their intelligence by making everything so cutesy and bright.
And that's the thing. They're putting it in your face and going, look, they're the female Ghostbusters, but don't notice that they're female Ghostbusters because that makes you a sexist. It's just a big insult to my intelligence, and this movie can just rot in hell.
Oh, I don't think it'll be a success.
All these actresses can rot in hell.
No, it's going to be a success, and
it's going to be popular because people are stupid.
Oh, guys, I don't think that the stupidity is going to reach that level.
It's going to flop.
Here's the thing. My grandma and wife, they always go out and see movies. And my grandma's very much, she's not like a feminist, but she hates men. So when her and my wife go out, they always see films. If they see that Melissa McCarthy or Kristen Wiig or any of those other bitches are in it, they will see it just for them. And so there's a crowd, there's a market for this, and unfortunately includes my family members.
There is, yeah. You're going to get all the women. They're going to see it's a cast full of women. Especially Melissa McCarthy will sell this film to women.
There are so many movies that have come out in the last year and a half that are, aimed at women that have done fucking horrible. And I think
like Tammy? Was Tammy in it? No.
The one with Sofia Vergara and the one bitch.
Oh, Hot Pursuit?
That movie fucking flopped. I think that, again, there's a way that you can make women characters and make them fun and hilarious and interesting. This sure as shit ain't in it.
Yeah, it's called
But the thing behind it is it's not just the women, the cast, not Melissa McCarthy, but it's the Ghostbuster name. They're going to go, oh, well, that movie was popular when my dad was a kid, or when my dad was, growing up. So I'm going to go see it.
That suck dick and they don't do well. I think Ghostbusters, outside of the song, which was the only thing, the I guess remastering of the theme, I liked that. I hated everything about the trailer. I think that if anyone goes to see it, it might do one of those things where it does decently well opening weekend and then just fucking hits the floor afterwards. This movie looks dumb. The fucking whatever plot that they showed in the trailer sounds fucking dumb. And I like Melissa McCarthy. I like Kristen Wiig. They look fucking stupid in this movie. The jokes are and I bitched about it on the episode that's not going to air, but it fucking depresses me. And I think that even if people go to see it, they're gonna be like, wow, this is a shitty movie. It's just shit on top of shit with CGI.
Well, don't get me wrong, Dion. I want it to flop. I really do, because it's gonna suck ass. But I don't. I think you're right. It'll do good opening weekend, but I think it'll do better. It'll do better than you think it will.
Yeah.
It's not going to have legs.
No.
Ghostbusters sits in a weird place. And it's not a bad weird place, a good weird place. People fucking love this movie. It's up there with Back to the Future. People dress up. Okay, there's a Ghostbusters club here in Ohio. Every fucking convention I work, all these guys and women go, too. There's women Ghostbusters in this group. So they don't have to make a fucking movie about female Ghostbusters to appeal to women. And a year ago, Dustin, I was talking to Allison, and the first thing she says when this movie got announced is how fucking stupid it looks. And she is the type of woman you would want to sell a movie like this to.
Because she's awesome.
She's cool as shit, but she likes Star Wars. She likes all these, I guess, nerd culture things. But when you fuck with something that's near and dear to somebody's heart, you're not going to get a positive reaction.
Right.
I mean, Ghostbusters was funny. It was kind of scary. It's one of those popcorn movies that's near perfect. There's nothing you want to change about the movie. You don't even need to tell what happens next.
And not only that, it had a lot of jargon in it that was science jargon, but it was put in a way because it was being presented by Dan Aykroyd and fucking Bill Murray. And don't get me wrong, I think that Kristen Wiig and Jenny McCarthy is funny, but if those two bitches start talking about a goddamn about why not to cross the streams, they're not going to fucking present it in a way that's funny and makes sense for the movie. I mean, the fact that the scene where Melissa McCarthy's just like, well, I blah 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 blah, and so so's an engineer, and you're the best astrophysicist that I know. I don't believe that. You don't look at Kristen Wiig and say, yeah, that bitch knows physics. You don't say that
Because she's a woman.
Well, that's probably why your wife and your grandma are going to go see the movie because they got to deal with your ass. But
all joking aside, I was watching a video by a guy named Thunderfoot. He's a real scientist. He works on, what was it, the CERN Super Collider or whatever? Uh-huh. He said the science on the board is wrong. So for a movie about how they're the best at math, the movie math on the board is wrong.
They can't even copy that shit right.
So it's almost like,
While you guys were talking about that, I decided I was wondering what comes out around that time.
Okay.
You got Now You See Me comes out a month before. Warcraft a month before. Independence Day 2 weeks before. Legend of Tarzan a week before. Star Trek's the following week after Ghostbusters.
See, there you go, right there. Star Trek is going to kill the legs that Ghostbusters will not have.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Bourne 2 weeks after.
See, there you go. You're having okay. I love Into Darkness. A lot of people shit on it for, I think, unjust reasons. Dion, you're a huge fan of it,
You know
right?
that I love that movie.
I thought it was a great movie.
Well, let's say the movie has a general positive consensus. People like it in general. You're going into like a sequel to a movie that people like, and then you're going into a movie that no one asked for with the Ghostbusters.
Exactly.
Opening weekend, people see it out of curiosity, but once you have a new Star Trek movie, and then you have the return of Jason Bourne, who's been gone for 9 years.
And it's dead in the water 3 weeks after Suicide Squad comes out.
Well, there you go. And people are going to take a gamble on that.
Yeah.
With if you want female characters in films, Harley Quinn will be way more interesting than any of these shitbusters that we're going to have in this fucking movie.
Shitbusters.
Even the jokes look fucking dumb. I can't.
Is it the wig or the hat?
Oh my god! And then it's like, get
writing,
my friend. And then the joke is that her name's Peggy. She has a necklace that says Peggy. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, Sony. Get the fuck out.
Why is I don't give a shit about the actors in this movie at all. Like Chris Hemsworth, I'm fucking ashamed of you.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think you could get shittier than your performance in Vacation, but then you fucking go to Ghostbusters. It's like outside of Thor, you're a shit actor. Pick something with some, integrity.
Rush was actually pretty good.
Oh, I have seen it. I can't shit on
it.
Rush.
Actually is a fantastic.
And I love Cabin in the Woods. And I really like the fucking remake of Red Dawn, so I like Chris Hemsworth. But goddamn it, Chris Hemsworth, stand up for yourself. Pick some good fucking roles.
Thank you.
I bet they paid him a shitload of money to do that, though.
I bet you they didn't, because Sony Pictures doesn't have all this money that you think they do.
They're still hurting from the fucking the break.
Yeah, the hack. Somebody hacked Sony's computers. That's why Marvel. That's what they knew, that people wanted Spider-Man back at Marvel. So this Sony leak kind of helped that along.
Right.
I just don't know why he would do it. I mean, he's making buttloads of money with Thor and the Avengers. He has to be.
And he's the eye candy for the women in those films, or for the women that go see those films. So, like, what are you trying to prove?
Why would you sit and do the shitty film and the shitty role with shitty actresses?
You're not Janine. You're what's his name in the movie? I don't know. We'll call him Max.
It's just so bad. It just looks so bad.
Oh my God, there's another Tyler Perry Medea's movie coming out.
Halloween. Woo!
Medea Halloween.
Yes.
Hold on, let me timestamp this the moment the podcast died forever.
He got so fucking excited about it,
I
though.
love Medea.
Do you really?
I really do. It's a guilty pleasure of the wife and me.
Well, then you gotta leave it in.
Everybody gets one. It's funny, the director is trying to, he's pretty much talking shit to people that don't like this movie. He's trying to label them as sexists and misogynists and all this other good
You
shit.
talking the Ghostbusters director?
Yeah, Paul Feig, the fucker that directed The Heat and Bridesmaids and other movies I don't give a shit about.
So other terrible movies? Got it.
He's the director that... He could direct like an Indiana Jones movie that's great, and I'll still hate it because he directed it.
Oh,
Now, Dion, I have a question for you specifically.
Hit me, baby.
I want you to pick one male-centric film from years past that you would like redone with females. Time's up, because it's a fucking terrible idea and you know it. Dion, I'm no basketball player, but that was a slam dunk right there.
Even those with us with the baddest of hemorrhoids get one. So, congratulations.
No, but can you just admit that it's a terrible fucking idea to have women do?
You know me, man, and it's a horrible idea. If you can't come up with an original idea for something and have it all be females, don't fucking. There are better ways to do it. Make it good. That's the whole. That if you want people to watch it, make it fucking good. It shouldn't matter about all this other bullshit. And Ghostbusters is a prime example of how not to fucking do it.
I'm looking at Paul Feig's filmography as a director. He's made nothing I like. Nothing.
Yep. Crap.
I mean, Bridesmaids, I think, is pretty good, but it's not. I just can't. Ghostbusters is just so. It's like they're making, and even it just pisses me off. The only original idea of the whole movie is, well, instead of just the regular packs, we have little mini guns and little caster brass knuckles that you punch the ghosts with. That's the only original fucking idea. And even then, it's not really that fucking original. It's like what a kid would do if they were like, well, I would turn them into brass knuckles, and I turn them into little pistols. And it's like, just stop. Just fucking stop it.
And why the fuck did she lick her guns? Was she trying to be cool and edgy? Because in the original Ghostbusters, they tell you how dangerous those weapons are. So, of course, you want to put your mouth on them. If it can melt your face off, just lick it.
It establishes how the character's crazy and weird and funny.
No.
It establishes how terrible this movie will be.
She's supposed to be Egon. In the first 5 minutes of Ghostbusters, you learn that Egon's really out there because he talks about a science experiment where he's going to try to drill a hole into his head. That's how you fucking establish a character. By just not licking a gun. That's not cool. This is a bigger problem with movies in general. People are stupid nowadays.
See? Told you.
Thanks, everybody. That's kind of the crust of the show tonight. Thank you. Drive home safe.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Don't be stupid.
Oh, fuck yourself, San Francisco.
Okay, Dion, how would you feel if they rebooted Beverly Hills Cop with
Melissa McCarthy?
this lady that's in this movie? Ooh, Melissa McCarthy's got this movie called, what the fuck is that one that she's in where she's the Girl Scout,
Boss or whatever?
Yeah, Boss, yeah.
That looks so fucking dumb.
Yeah, it looked kind of funny, like it's just like punching a kid funny.
So you want to watch a movie where she wears a turtleneck to hide her double chins the whole time?
Yeah. That sounds hilarious.
That's cool.
We look at Phil all the time. It's kind of similar to that.
I got a beard, fuck you.
No, but Melissa McCarthy's a one-note joke. She's not entertaining. I don't give a shit what she looks like.
I care. She is so goddamn fat.
Oh my god. Keep going, man. I can't censor you.
No, actresses are meant to be attractive. I watch television to see beauty and things I don't see walking down my fucking street here in Otsego, Michigan. But dear Jesus, she is the fattest cunt I have ever seen on film, and it makes me sick.
Who is she bigger than Kathy Bates?
Okay, Kathy Bates is a beautiful fucking woman, and she is the exception to the rule.
Oh,
Okay.
whatever.
Oh my god.
I fell in love with Kathy Bates when I first saw her in 1997's James Cameron directed Titanic, and I've been in love ever since.
Will your heart go on for her?
I'll let her go.
Well, now that we know that when she took her clothes off in front of Jack Nicholson, Dustin was fucking beaten so bad he passed out.
About Schmidt is Dustin's favorite film of 2004, 2005, and every year since then.
No, but in all seriousness, Melissa McCarthy is fat. I just don't think she should ever make money by waddling her fat ass in front of a camera. Now, someone earlier mentioned that she's going to bring in a lot of viewers. Yeah, it's called Gravity. Am I right?
Oh, my God.
Could you be any more offensive? Sorry.
Please be more offensive.
Oh,
It's a very short list. We'll start.
I don't know anyone, like, friend-wise, that's going to go see this movie. I know none of you guys are going to go see it, right?
Fuck no. I'll watch it
No.
on Netflix, and then I'll just be pissed and drunk when I watch it.
Make me a promise that if it ever reaches Netflix, around the time I come to visit, wait for me.
Deal.
We will get blackout drunk, and we will watch it.
Deal.
I have a proposition.
What'd you
I
say?
have a proposition.
Okay.
I'm thinking, because we do shit on our viewers a lot, what if we make a deal that if 10 viewers in the YouTube comment section dare us to go see it, we go see it and give them a review from that very night?
Okay, I think we got to have more than just 10 comments. If those same people will like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter. So I'm going to take, you know what, keep talking, guys. I'm going to take a number down right now. I'm going to see how many likes we got on our Facebook and our Twitter and how many subscribers we got. And if we can increase all those numbers just by 10.
Sure.
Just by 10.
10 in each category, then I say that we subject ourselves to that cunt fest.
This is the only time where I will ever say this, where I will ever say anything like this. But if our viewers fucking do that to me, and you'll never see the
No
video,
hand jobs.
but I'm looking into the camera right now. If you only give us 10 more likes to make me go see Ghostbusters, because I'll have to, because Jeff is essentially my boss. And if he makes me go see Ghostbusters because of you sons of bitches, I will never, ever forgive you for that.
I was hoping you'd say never talk again, and I got really excited.
I will
Be a
never.
really boring
fucking
podcast.
not. I would rather.
I thought you were going to say, I thought you were going to quote The Rock, and then I was going to get really excited and cut a promo.
I was going to, but then I was like, I don't want to yell because I'm kind of close to the mic. I was going to yell it, but
How many extra likes do we have to get for Dion to agree to have Melissa McCarthy sit on his face?
20.
Oh.
as long as she doesn't joke beforehand, I'll let her do it.
Okay, so we're at 96 likes on our Facebook page. Very embarrassing. If we can get 106 likes, what's the time limit? By next week? Before the next recording, okay?
Yes, before next Thursday, which is, the 17th? And enough people are going to listen and subscribe. For one, they get a hand job. And two, they're going to subject us to having to sit through that shit.
Yeah, I want it by next week, guys. You can do it, world-class bullshitter fans. All right, so then we need to be at 228 subscribers by next week on our Facebook page, or YouTube page. And then let's see. Our Twitter is abysmal. And I'm not blaming you, Dion, so don't get upset. I just mean no one subscribes to us on Twitter.
So you saying if we have 128 by?
No, we need to have 106 on Facebook and 228 on YouTube by next week.
Gotcha.
And on Twitter, let's see what we're at on Twitter. And on Twitter, we probably need 30. We need 24 on Twitter.
God, who's ever running the Twitter sucks ass.
Shut up.
I built my Incarnate Studios page to have more followers than all these combined.
How many on Twitter do we need? 30, you said?
We need 24. We're only at 14. We follow more than we're followed.
Go figure, the liberal doesn't do his job.
To be fair, it's because we send out tweets like, at Kim Kardashian, we're Z-list celebrities, but feel free to send us nudes. Hashtag WCBS, hashtag Women's Day. Hashtag booty slip. I don't know, some asshole sent that out, but seriously, listeners, subscribers, friends of Noah R. and Jonathan Loganberry, if you can do this, we will all go see Ghostbusters.
You know what? I want to bring up a lot of our viewers. I don't have the names in front of me. Maybe, Jeff, you can bring that up. But we had a lot of comments from our emergency podcast earlier this week. A lot of good conversation from a lot of good people.
Let's talk about that. I actually took some notes down, guys. So, the topic of the video was, is Luke Skywalker gay? Because, for one news cycle, that was all the rage. Then it was Bernie Sanders won the Michigan primary, But thankfully, we recorded a video in time. So, this first comment comes from our good friend and #1 fan of the show, Noah R. And Noah says, just be glad that I was not on this podcast. I'm so fucking tired of having this bullshit crammed down our throats. Jar Jar Abrams thinks that it's more important to have a homosexual character than actually creating a good story. Not surprising from a Hollywood elite. Hamill is trying to live up to that by saying Luke could be a homosexual. I mean, what the hell? Even if I look past the mediocre plot of the new film, it still doesn't sit well with me knowing that all this politically correct bullshit is happening behind the scenes. And he goes on to say, I had just had an argument with my mother this morning about how I won't watch movies that focus largely on PC dialogue or rewrite history to be in line with modern thinking. Guess what, people? The truth is the way the world works isn't politically correct. Even in works of fiction, when shit like this is broadcasted to the masses, it makes an impact. Small subliminal impact on the way people think will slowly take form over many years. What comes to mind are the interviews with Yuri Bezmenov, which he talks about how only a small portion of his time in the KGB was actually spent doing intelligent activities. The rest was spent character assassinating people with unpopular opinions and slowly manipulating the masses. It sounds like a tinfoil hat alarmist crap theory, but in all reality, this is what we're being subjected to. Anyway, rant over. And then we responded to Noah, agreeing on his opinion, and he followed up with, if I had made that comment in high school today, I would have been hung. People don't think for themselves. If you don't embrace this uber-progressive LGBT-pushing culture, destroying anti-straight white male, all-loving agenda, you should get the fuck down, and you're called a bigot. As I said before, systematic character assassination.
Let's talk about that.
Let's.
Right now, I saw Dion scratching his head, furrowing his eyebrows, looking like a bitch. What do you got to say?
Well, I mean, I agree that having a shit on your throat isn't, it's not should not be in Hollywood in terms of making a movie. I mean, there are ways to use movies to get a more inclusive point across. And again, I agree that Ghostbusters is an example of how not to do it. It's an example of doing it just because you want to please a group of people. But I would not fucking compare it to the KGB character assassinating people.
No, his point was that there's a concerted effort by a group of people to push forward an agenda that tries to destabilize the nuclear family and that sort of thing.
Right.
So how are you not drawing the connection between taking one of the most iconic male role models, Luke Skywalker, and all of a sudden going, he could be gay? I mean, that was his point. Is it seems like one of those KGB type things where you're trying to infiltrate subconsciously and sway people towards immorality.
Well, I mean, I think one would be a naive looking at Mark Hamill because he's always been a progressive guy, number one. Number two,
Has he? Has he ever actually been socially relevant ever in his life?
Socially relevant and actually being socially active aren't exactly the same thing. I mean, he's been...
Yes, it is, though. If Kyle Glass from Tenacious D comes out for gay rights, who gives a shit? It's Kyle Glass. No one knows him. He's not big enough to have an actual voice or matter. Mark Hamill's two things, Luke Skywalker and the Joker, and 90% of the people don't even know it's the same person.
Right, but he's gone to a lot of, he's been on, independent news shows, he's been at rallies, he's done this before, obviously it doesn't get covered, but I mean, this isn't something that Mark Hamill decided to do out of the blue, and even so, it was something that they were asking him about. So obviously, knowing Mark Hamill, he's going to respond in the Mark Hamill way, not the Luke Skywalker way.
That is not the Mark Hamill way. That is what Noah says is that's what that's the way you have to answer, or else your character assassinated. Oh, Mark Hamill's a bigot. No, Mark Hamill knows more about Luke Skywalker than all of us. He made out with Carrie Fisher he's kissed her multiple times in the films and shown sexual interest towards her. There was never a question that Luke Skywalker is possibly gay. It's not even up for debate. That'd be like me saying Luke Skywalker's potentially black. No, he's a fucking white dude with blonde hair, and he wanted to bang Princess Leia prior to finding out she was a sister.
And I agree with the part of the character, but if you're talking about saying that Mark Hamill's only responding to that because he's afraid of being character assassinated, no, that's not why he did that. I think he did that.
He's retarded because he was the guy that
he may well be, but again, that's not. He may be, but that's not him. He's not responding because he's afraid of some kind of backlash.
So you're saying on record right now, Mark Hamill is retarded.
I'm not saying that he is. I said he may be, number one. Number two, like I said, he's done interviews and shit like that before. So it's not like...
I need some quotes before I can take that to heart.
I'm sure I can find videos on it, but he's been on.
Hey, send him and post him on our Facebook. We'll just send him.
I will. So, but he's been on independent news shows on YouTube before. So it's not. It's again, this isn't some new Mark Hamill thing.
So he's always been saying Luke Skywalker's gay.
I didn't say that. That's the great thing about having the show. You can go back and listen to it. I never said that he always said Luke Skywalker's gay. What I'm saying is, if they ask Mark Hamill a question and he says, "What the hell?" he could be. Again, I don't agree with it. I don't think that that's what Luke Skywalker was. This isn't Mark Hamill trying to protect himself from some type of backlash.
It is. It's either, like you said, there are two options. Either he's retarded and doesn't know his own character, or he is saying it because he's being compelled to.
Again, if you watch the episode again, I didn't say that those are the two options. I didn't say that he's...
No, I'm telling you, that's what reality has presented as the two options.
Well, no, it hasn't. Mark Hamill was asked a question, and he said, "Well, what the hell? He could be gay because he's just fucking responding because someone asked him that."
I wish you could see how hard my eyes are rolling back right now.
I wish I could too.
Yeah, any show you're on is not one I'm going to rewind and listen to. No, let's move on to somebody else's opinion.
Oh, dude, I got plenty of these. Don't worry. Our fan mail section is pretty dense tonight. So this is still on Luke Skywalker. This comes from Smith No Mates. I still remember those discussions where people were sure that Disney would finally give us Lucas-free original movies on Blu-ray and leave behind the times with constant edits to them. Seems like we'll get Star Wars, the current year edition, instead, now with digitally enhanced lustful gazes from Luke DeLando's pecs. Experience again the magical moment where it is revealed that Boba Fett was indeed after Han Solo's love. And then this comes from Jonathan Loganberry, who is probably our second biggest fan. He's commented on most of our videos. He listens all the time. And thank you, Jonathan. He says, Luke is not gay. It's just Hamill. He's a washed-up weirdo trying to sound relevant. There's nothing that implies his character was ever gay.
It sounds like we have the smartest fans on the internet.
Oh, we do, and it just keeps coming. We got a guy named Justin B66992, and he goes, Christ, what is this world coming to? I honestly thought that this was a theory that first popped up somewhere on YouTube, but now it's a real topic? Wow, I get why they would do this, since they need to make sure that the homosexuals are on their side, since this is a time where someone is condemned for any negative thing that they say for this or that over 2 decades ago, i.e. Rebecca Bradley. I don't know who that is. Dan, look that up for us. But seriously, this wasn't needed. Like it was stated, Mark Hamill, by the way, I doubt anyone actually wrote asking him to come out, didn't really had a right to say what a character he portrays as, had no real creative control over it. Anyway, he's just saying they're full of shit. And it says there shouldn't be a gay Batman either. Should we just forget all the times that Batman was banging Catwoman or Vicky Vale? And he goes, man, I gotta wonder if stuff like this will be worse than anything George Lucas has changed in the originals. At least in those cases, it was mostly just fluff and other things like Greedo shooting, Darth Vader's no line, and the ghost of Hayden Christensen.
He makes a great point, because now let's look at this. A lot of people hated George Lucas, but as our fan points out, hey, we found out that it could be a lot worse.
Yeah, dude, Dustin, we don't agree on this topic, but I've been saying it since the first day I saw episode 7. I will go back and watch the prequels with a kinder eye when I actually can get over, my hate of Star Wars now. Like I said in the other video, what else can they do to fucking be progressive in this next film? Luke will be gay, and then I guess there'll be 2 dudes that get married in the end of episode 9. Like,
What other fan notes did we get? I know that someone called us a homophobe.
Oh, don't worry. We got one more from a positive guy named Lavelle of War. He says, Luke Skywalker being gay. No, we all know Luke Skywalker's transgender now. That was him in the last movie, right? When he closes his eyes and becomes the master right away? So thank you, Lavelle of War. We appreciate that lighthearted comment. And now comes to a much more serious comment from a man named Matt 2.
Before you do that, do you want to hear who Rebecca Bradley is?
Sure. Tell me real quick in 3 sentences.
She's a judge that has no sympathy for AIDS patients because they effectively chose to kill themselves and use homophobic slurs. She called Bill Clinton queer-loving and said Americans are either totally stupid or entirely evil.
This woman needs to be Trump's vice president today.
How's that?
Thank you. That I actually learned something on air for once. And it wasn't just Joel making it up. But back to Matt 2, our detractor, he says, they are trying to make it easier for people to relate to. Before you could really only relate to Star Wars if you were white and straight. Actually, he said if you wear white and straight, typo. For the record, Mr. Matt 2, myself and Dion are not white, and then Nick, who is a former contributor to the show, comes from Samoa, by the way of India. So our show is mostly not white, and we all love Star Wars with a passion. So your first argument is fucking invalidated. Then he goes on to say, they want to broaden that, and I applaud them for doing so. Luke's sexuality does it, and it doesn't actually... He meant to say doesn't, but he can't type, because he's so filled with rage and in a huff to tell us we're wrong. So he fucks up some more. He says, Luke's sexuality doesn't play a big role in the story. No matter how someone interprets his sexuality, it shouldn't matter. He kind of goes after Leia because he wants to bone her in the first movie. And then his motivations to be with Princess Leia in the second one drives a wedge between him and Han Solo, thus creating a love triangle, which was a huge part of the drama in the first two Star Wars movies. So, Matt, you are either an idiot or you've never watched the first two Star Wars movies.
I vote for the first one.
I'm going with the former.
I'm going with the first one.
Isn't there a commercial where the little girl says, why not both?
Yeah.
I love that commercial.
He goes on to say, on a side note, you guys wear very insensitive and so damn, spelled with one M, no N, homophobic. Not once did we ever attack gay people in the video. None of us have problems with gay people in real life. Gay, straight, it doesn't matter.
My problem is with Matt there is I would like to insult him, but I'm afraid the little crybaby bitch would go tell on us and get us pulled off of YouTube.
Oh, don't worry. We might trigger
He's got to
him
be in his little
during the
safe zone.
I actually learned what a safe zone was today, and we're going to talk about that in a minute.
No, but Matt's not going to come to this video again, and here's why. If you look at his history of videos he watches, if the word gay is not in the title, he won't click on it, so we're safe this week. And that is fact. Yeah. No. You guys think I'm joking.
No, I know you're telling the truth because I looked it up myself.
I did a little stalking. Every video he watches has the word gay in it, so we're safe for this week.
He loves granny panties. Well, let's talk about some more positive fan mail. Our remake episode got us a comment on Facebook from Donald Osborne. He says he would vote for a Flash Gordon remake, but keep the Queen soundtrack. How do you feel about that, Dion?
I leave it as I don't want to see a Flash remake. I think, especially if you make it, you do a remake with Queen now, it would look and feel weird. I think that Flash is a classic as is. You don't need to remake it. I'd leave that shit alone.
Do you have a problem with Queen because
Jesus, Dion?
I'm just asking for Matt.
I love him because
you racist, homophobic son of a bitch.
To tell us about the rest of them, and he fucking died, man. He fucking died, man. So the show must fucking go on, yo. You're the real MVP.
You're the real MVP.
You really did.
Oh.
I think so.
20 years this year, right,
Like,
Dan?
now we're gonna
I
get
wonder what his
flagged from the
decomposing body looks
necrophiliac.
like at this point. I wonder what his decomposing body looks
What'd you
like
say?
at this point.
Taking it in the ass.
Like shit.
Damn.
I'll tell you this though. I bet it still thinks that the fat bottom girls make the world go round.
I don't get the reference.
Song, great song, but Phil saying "fat bottom" is kind of funny.
God.
Say it again, Phil.
Fat bottom.
I'm not saying because of that. I'm just saying because he said "fat bottom."
I thought you were gonna make
saying that.
I like
God damn.
fat bottom girls.
Love
They
that.
do make the rock and roll go round.
A nice round booty does make my day happier. One final piece of fan news before we get into our not so big of train wrecks this week. The Force Awakens video lives on stronger than ever. There isn't a day that goes by that I don't get a shitload of comments on the page about it. But we actually got a Facebook message discussing this, so it shows that people are crossing platforms to discuss world-class bullshitters. And this one comes from our good friend Louis Spina. He asked us if we had seen the article on IGN about The Force Awakens titled J.J. Abrams reveals his big mistake in Star Wars The Force Awakens. Essentially, the article says, why doesn't Leia hug Chewbacca, but goes directly for Rey? Now, if you ask world-class bullshitters, we say because she closes her eyes and everything makes her perfect. So, she's, the one you got to console because she's so important. But J.J. Abrams goes to say that...
yeah, I didn't even notice that Leia didn't hug Chewbacca, and I literally have seen the film 8 times, and never once did it strike me as, why doesn't she do that? So, it just feels like people are nitpicking for the sake of nitpicking.
What's the point of even bringing that up? I don't understand what he's trying to say.
No.
This
I
isn't
the
fan
fans
nitpicking.
saying the people that called J.J. Abrams out for Leia not hugging Chewbacca, that wasn't even a thing on my radar.
Oh, that's one of the things on my radar. I went, why is she so worried about a stranger she's never fucking met? Oh, because the audience is supposed to realize how important she is. Like, nothing... She has no prior connections to this girl.
Maybe she has no prior connections.
Years. Dustin, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Unless it happens in this film, you cannot make excuses.
Oh, see, I don't agree with that philosophy, so we'll just have to...
We can disagree, it's fine. It's not going to make me dislike you. But there's no evidence. There's no evidence, so they're complete strangers. But Lewis does say, as a director,
and it's used in court cases even, that it's not enough to say there's no evidence for something not to exist. You have to actually prove that it doesn't exist, because that's where the burden of proof is shit. Anyway.
But I can't. But the thing is, Dustin, I can prove it doesn't exist because there's no such thing as Star Wars Episode 8. This is all a hypothetical discussion. This isn't like in a court case where you don't know if I did something. I know for a fact that there is no completed film.
Text like Maz Kanata or whatever, saying that was Luke's lightsaber.
And why is that even a thing, though? And why doesn't, when Luke Skywalker pick up his father's lightsaber, does he not have flashbacks to Anakin Skywalker and the previous adventures of the Clone Wars? Because that was a new thing created for Episode 7.
Huh?
No, I'm just saying, like, why isn't Luke Skywalker, when he picks up his father's lightsaber, why doesn't he have these Force flashbacks? That's what I'm saying. This is something created for Episode 7 that we're just making up shit on the fly.
We can move on. Yeah, we can.
Which, by the way, if you want to hear me bitch about this movie.
Oh, no. Don't be the baby back bitch. I mean, if you're going to bring something up, defend it. I mean, they bring in unnecessary storylines into Episode 7.
What's unnecessary about it? That's the subtext telling you that she is important, she is connected to the Skywalkers, and it's...
No, Dustin, it's a made-up thing for this movie to try to add importance to a character that has no importance. She's just some chick out in the desert. All it is a retelling of Luke Skywalker. And how come no one that's ever picked up that lightsaber has the events? Luke Skywalker is more...
Maybe she's a Jedi of Jedis. Maybe she has one prepositional phrase.
But the thing is, the lightsaber is a tool. The lightsaber is not a fucking mystical object that, it's not like a mystical recorder that records history. It's a fucking tool. I don't give a shit if I picked up a gun from World War II. I'm not going to pick it up and say, this shot 27 Nazis.
But you told me once before you like the idea of midi-chlorians because it grounds the mysticism of the Force. Now, if the Force is mystical like you like it to be, then it would have these kind of magical powers.
But it's not because it's now
midi-chlorians are midi-chlorians. You're talking about an inanimate object. You're talking about a lightsaber, something that they created. It's not something that was born out of blood or something like that.
No, it uses very special crystals that a Jedi has to find to complete their training and make a tool that helps connect them to the Force to wield for defense and offense. So it is connected to the Force, and if the Force is mystical... then it's not that much of a stretch.
Connection with the lightsaber. The lightsaber is...
But that's the point. I'm telling you, subtext shows she does have a connection to the lightsaber. She is connected to the Skywalkers, and that reinforces my initial point.
I understand the effect of it. The effect is that she has a connection with Skywalker and the Force. But leading up to that point, before the effect, it doesn't make sense. If she's old enough to remember getting left on the planet, why is she all of a sudden she doesn't know what this lightsaber thing is? So she remembers Luke, we're assuming, leaving the planet, but that's all she remembers is being left behind. She doesn't remember any of these other people. She doesn't remember, for all intents and purposes of the movie, she doesn't remember Luke. She doesn't remember Kylo Ren. They do not recognize one another. She's old enough that they are a similar age. She was left on the planet. He would have been around that age. They don't recognize one another. So leading up to that, what happened leading up to her finding the lightsaber in the movie where she goes, oh, fuck, oh my God, I see this vision and I don't want it. That came out of nowhere.
And where does the lightsaber come from? It got cut off and thrown down a fucking
How the
chute and
fuck did the mystical little midget find it? Right.
I mean, you mean Yoda 2.0 from when they go into the Cantina 2.0 and have the same kind of weird Calypso style music on the fucking rip off of Endor?
The effect of the story, I get why. Okay, this is to establish who she is, but again, how did it get to that point? You want to make a congruent story, it has to make sense. That's how movies work. You can't just say, "Oh, well, touch the lightsaber and bang." I have to believe why this lightsaber is important to her specifically.
Exactly.
And why not? Yeah, I'm with you. It's a weird thing to add on. It's just like Dustin always would say, it's like a great joke, and you add one more beat. It's like this one more beat makes no sense. And now the lightsaber is a mystical object, or it's just a fucking tool. That's all it is. The crystals are just pieces of whatever. The lightsaber doesn't. You don't need the Force to use a lightsaber.
Which Finn proves in that very same movie.
Yeah, I was just about to say Finn.
And General Grievous and Han Solo.
So it's mystical only
lightsabers.
Because of her.
Yeah, because she is the worst written character in any Star Wars film. They'll make up excuses just to further her story, which isn't even interesting. Like, her story's over. They told her whole story. She completed Luke's journey in one film. Anyway, Lewis says that as a director, you fucked up majorly when you have to come out, it seems monthly, and defend or describe a piece of shit, your piece of shit excuse for a film. And I just said, thank you, Lewis. Dion, you actually commented on Lewis's message to us. So thank you, Lewis, for writing in. Don't worry, we like the controversial topics. And speaking of controversial topics, guys, have you heard about the triggering?
I have not.
Nope.
I have not.
You have not? It's like Christmas for dickheads, okay? It's the most fun I've ever had on the internet. Seriously. Think about it. Next to the fappening, it's my favorite internet moment in history. What it is the triggering is a hashtag created to piss off social justice warriors, not by being an asshole, but just by saying truths that make them feel uncomfortable. And instead of the train wreck of the week this week, I'm going to read you some an interesting article about the triggering, and then I'm going to read you some hashtags that use the some tweets that use the hashtag.
Do it.
The triggering. You guys ready? Okay, so this comes from InfoWars, which I'm not an Alex Jones fan, but this was a funny-ass article. Crybaby social justice warriors had no safe place to retreat after the hashtag triggering began trending on Twitter, and millions of leftists were exposed to some politically incorrect home truths. The echo chamber of social media and the use of mass block lists normally ensures that people and precious little snowflake SJWs rarely have their stupid ideas challenged, which is probably a good thing for them since they have now started demanding counseling whenever someone disagrees with their opinion. However, a growing army of libertarians, conservatives, and actual liberals who believe in free speech are becoming increasingly strident in their opposition to how a growing culture of censorship is beginning to pollute academia and public discourse. And from a first-hand perspective, I've seen this shit. From trigger warnings to safe places to the effort to redefine criticism, satire, and merely disagreeing with someone's opinions as harassment and abuse, the cultural backlash against the new face of authoritarianism is accelerating. Hashtag the triggering, first devised by libertarian activist Lauren Southern, is the latest manifestation of that backlash. And now I will start to
also
read
point
some of the
out
tweets.
Twitter
You guys
actually
ready?
tried shutting down the hashtag.
Yeah, they were trying to suppress it. When I was searching stuff up for the show, you couldn't really search it. Let me see if it's back now, because I would love to read you guys some more. Some of them made me fucking laugh. One made me think of you, Dustin, the guy Some radio host was talking to a social justice warrior. That's why you get no pussy, because you're a little bitch. These social justice warriors would rather fuck a dude on a motorcycle. Get a motorcycle, you bitch!
I'm glad that makes you think of me.
I think you portrayed that perfectly, Jeff.
I feel like that's something you would have said.
He's practiced.
I've been trying. All right, I'm trying. Okay, I can search up hashtag the triggering, and I will read you some more in a minute. But this article had some really good ones that I wanted to read on air. It says the media will ignore 99% of the triggering tweets and write about the tiny fraction of ones that are based on racism. Okay, so here we go. Safe spaces are for intellectual cowards who can't handle their stupid ideas being challenged. Hashtag
Absolutely.
triggering.
I've read all these and I agree with 100% of them.
Some cultures are better than others. Hashtag the triggering. Here's one that's going to hurt a lot of people, but god damn it. There are two pictures of women. There is one woman who has the left side of her face burned off, and then there's another just random white lady on a stage. And under the picture of the woman that has her face melted off, it says, thinks there's a war on women in Muslim countries because of acid attacks for being immodestly dressed. And then the other woman from America thinks there's a war on women in America because she can't get enough free condoms from law school. Hashtag the triggering. They're basically the same, right?
Oh, read the one about socialism being a mental illness. Oh, I don't have it up.
Read it.
If I can remember
I was just
from
going
the top
in
of my
order.
head. It's socialism is the mental illness that makes you think you're entitled to other people's money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, other people's hard work. Hashtag the triggering. Here we go. Here's one that I like. Disagreeing with your stupid opinions is not harassment.
Touchdown.
Hashtag the triggering. Maybe your problems are not that you're very. Maybe your problem is that you're not very smart, talented, or attractive, and society is pretty much okay. Hashtag the triggering. That comes from Flippy McGee. Okay, here we go from Paul Joseph Watson. The stereotype of most feminists being fat, ugly, and obnoxious is completely accurate. Hashtag the triggering. This one comes from Mara Jane. Manspreading is not a thing. Men have balls. Hashtag the triggering. I want to read the next one, but I think it'll piss off Dion, so I'm going to read it anyway. Hashtag Black Lives Matter is a racist hate group.
Not where I
Hashtag the
thought you were
triggering.
going with that one.
Oh, okay. Well, on the unaired episode last week, we had that whole debate about.
No, I get that. I
everything
thought you were
matters
making
and
fun of
black
his
people.
stupid liberal ideas, though.
Oh no, Dion's my friend. I don't want to piss him off too much.
Hopefully.
We gotta go see Ghostbusters together. Here we go. Black Lives Matter has done more damage to the black community than white people in recent years. Hashtag the trigger. Oh, here we go, Dion. I hope you laugh at this one. Islam is not a religion of peace. Hashtag the triggering.
Do the one where it talks about the Crusades.
that one.
That's a good follow-up to that one.
Okay, here's the year. Oh, here. Let me just look it up. Crusades. Oh, the Crusades were a legitimate response to centuries of Muslim conquest. Hashtag the triggering. Abortion is immoral and tragic in cases where it is needed. If you find it empowering, you should have been aborted. Hashtag the triggering.
I've got one that might really, really piss off Dion, so I'm not going to read it.
Well, now you're being like a girl where you're bringing it up and you're like, no, I can't.
Here we go from Sassy Longlegs. I'm fat because I don't eat well or exercise. It's not healthy, and I don't need or want SJWs to make excuses for that. Hashtag the triggering. Body positivity movement is just an excuse for fat, lazy people not to lose weight. Hashtag the triggering. There are
Good
only
call.
two
Now,
genders.
Dion, how do you
Hashtag
feel
the
about
triggering.
all these? Nodding your head in approval?
Definitely not.
Here you go, Dion. Do you agree with this one? It's not unreasonable to demand that immigrants adopt
Well,
your
yeah,
Muslim
I mean
values.
that's
Hashtag the
that's
triggering.
definitely agreeable.
Video games aren't just for children and emotionally stunted adults, and they don't cause violence and sexism. Hashtag the triggering.
Oh my god, here's one I don't agree with. I like Skylar White. Hashtag the triggering.
She is the cuntiest cunt of all cunts.
Oh, what a bitch. I'm trying. It's just. I'm really glad the triggering only lasted one day. Hey, King Kawhi, it's been 3 days, buddy.
Hashtag the triggering.
We're still talking about
Now,
this
here's
shit.
the thing. I have a challenge for our listeners. I think we should find a prize to send them. Jeff, if you have any DVDs lying around. I want to see
I got a prize
who
for
can
our
come up
fans.
with the triggering comment. Now, Dion, I want to
I
hear
love
your
it.
best, the triggering.
I didn't look any up.
No, make one up. I want you to make one up, Dion, on the spot right now. What you got? Your brain reminds me of one of those 1960s computers that tried playing chess. It would take like 4 minutes to calculate each move.
Oh no, and you're reminding me of those funny little guys that want to try to sound like they're very smart, but love just throwing random shit against the wall. And, oh, you're not gonna say anything? That means that you don't know what you're talking about.
All female cast movies are terrible, and they're only made for sexists. Hashtag the triggering.
It's like the words right out of Dion's mouth.
Or butthole. Hey guys, I got a great triggering. This one comes from Chris Benoit. The only true safe place is where I hide my stories in the backyard. Hashtag the triggering. Owen Hart and 3 other followers like this. So Vince, you got some explaining to do. Oh, here we go. Here's one that I agree with 100%, and it's really controversial. If you're a minority or ethnicity, your segregated safe places are precisely what Jim Crow racists wanted, idiots. Hashtag the triggering.
Dion, what is that face? It looks like a little...
Are they trying to say that these safe places are solely based on race?
No, it's saying you trying to segregate yourself is no different than the very thing you want to overcome.
They're not segregating themselves. No, they're not. No, they're not.
Yeah, they are. You can't. A safe place is where you can control the variables around you. So if I have a safe place, it's only mixed people.
No,
I love
segregation.
safe places aren't where just people of color can go or people that are LGBTs can go. They're a safe place that you can go. There are people who who not necessarily agree, but consider these people their friends.
Now he tripped himself up because he realized the logic in that statement. It's where you go, where you can control who is around you.
No,
which is
it's where you
exactly
openly express your opinions without being called a name by someone who doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
So let's say that I get in a disagreement with somebody and they don't like what I have to say, so they go to a safe place. Am I allowed to go in there and continue talking about what I was talking about?
No, a safe place.
Segregation.
You just asked a question. I would love to talk about it. A safe place means that you and that person go and talk and disagree, but that you just can't whip out the word fag randomly and start yelling because
Well, we don't talk like that on the podcast, Dion.
I'm sorry? What was that?
Language.
I heard you drop a very hard 3-letter F word.
I did.
Language.
I did. Free speech, baby. I'm here all night. I ain't going
I got a
nowhere.
funny one for you,
I
Jeff.
ain't going nowhere. This is my safe place, goddammit.
You telling me that groups of people that have similar ideas are the only ones who can share a certain space is no different than the Jim Crow laws of the mid-20th century.
Jim Crow established certain areas because you are inferior.
Yeah, you're saying that you don't like my
you
opinion.
got your own section of the bus. It was you are at the back of the bus. It wasn't that you got, oh, well, there's a section of the diner where you're at. It was, no, you have to come in through the kitchen. It wasn't like, oh, they have their area, we have our area. You had
just like safe zones. You have the
they're
zone where
not like that. They don't make you if you are someone who, you know, if it's a safe zone where you're on a college campus and you want to talk about these things, yeah, if you're running in dropping the M-bomb because you're trying to prove that you have to have some type of expression that I just want to say the N-bomb, they say no, we don't want to hear. Exactly.
That's not how safe spaces work, Dion. According to Paul Joseph Watson, safe spaces are for intellectual cowards who can't handle their stupid ideas being challenged. Hashtag the triggering. It's like one of those forums that goes positive posts only, and then I go in there and talk shit about Batman vs Superman for 20 minutes. All right, there's no safe
that's
place.
called the
Jeff
internet,
Hick's
not a safe place. That's just a bunch of idiots that fucking want to talk about the goddamn Batman vs Superman movie. That's not the same thing. It's not even close to the same thing. It's not.
You're saying there's a certain space that can only be occupied by certain people. What else does that sound like?
Other people can come and talk. You just can't randomly say, oh, well, you know, yeah, I mean, gays are just disgusting. That's what that is. It's not just...
That's society in general, dude. So you're making everywhere a safe space? No, safe spaces are where people can't be challenged.
No,
they have stupid ideas.
Challenge. People say that I don't want to challenge your beliefs because they want to say some really dumb shit that they can't that they can't back up. That's what that whole thing is about.
You're on the opposite side. If you flipped over what you just said, you would have safe space correctly.
That's not what you're saying. What safe space is like? Oh, well, they don't want to be chatted. That's not what it is at all.
Yeah, it is, because they're so afraid, they're intellectually retarded, that they can't handle a differing opinion. That'd be like if somebody came up to me tomorrow and said, I listened to your show and I disagree that the Spider-Man costume is great. Well, you know what? I have enough mental power to argue that back. Not, oh, this is my safe space, I can't argue it. Shut the fuck up.
I'll be triggered.
What the fuck is that shit?
If you want to talk about the
you know what?
that's
Speaking
one
of shit,
thing. You're
I
not
got
talking
some more,
about
all
what
right?
it's actually supposed to be. Now, if someone goes...
I'm not talking about what you want it to be. I'm talking about how people use it, you know? A gun can be used for good things, but it can also be used to shoot people in the fucking face and murder people. So, I mean...
It's not about context. A gun is made to kill something. It's not... yeah, sure, the ends to justify the means, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's made to kill someone. That's a completely different thing.
Let's get off of this one, and here's another one. If you think your race, I can't speak because I'm so triggered right now. Excuse me. If you think your race, sexuality, gender, etc. should be valued over your merit, personality, and skills, you might be garbage. Hashtag
weighing 400 pounds and posting selfies of yourself in lingerie on the internet doesn't lower your cholesterol or blood pressure. Hashtag the triggering.
Men are better at everything. In 2015, a man won Woman of the Year award. Hashtag Caitlyn Jenner. Hashtag triggering.
Here's my favorite one, all joking aside. Being offended is not a form of activism. Hashtag the triggering. And there's a video that goes with it. This comes from a guy named That Guy T. Feminist, your alleged rape accusations end where my pesky reasonable doubt begins. Facts are greater than victims. Deal with it.
Hey, Dan, would you consider yourself an SJW?
What is an SJW again?
Social justice warrior.
In so many words, you're a bitch. And no, you're not a social justice warrior. Let me tell you something. At the end of the day, Dion, you're just like us. You're a dude that wants to bang, and you got a white wife. So
few differences.
Slightly pussified. That's cool.
You have a wife and all that. But
I'm just fucking with you, man.
I mean, Elton John has kids. I mean,
yes.
And Dustin loves
oh my God.
Kids too. So again, that's all relative.
Feminism made women believe their children would be better off without their fathers. They were wrong. Hashtag the triggering.
Oh, here's one that's fucked up. I'll read it anyway. Patriarchy smashed the Third Reich. Patriarchy took us to the moon. Patriarchy keeps women safe in beds. Hashtag the triggering.
If you are fit to work but choose to live off of welfare, you aren't a victim, you are a parasite. Hashtag the triggering.
The only rape culture in the West is the frequency with which social justice warriors get raped by facts. Hashtag the triggering. In the West, there are no rights a man has that a woman doesn't have.
That's
Hashtag the triggering. You know what? We're going to end this with 7 harsh realities.
Oh, I love this post.
Of the life of millennials. All right, this is what we'll end it with because we're all millennials and we're all pretty well adjusted. None of us are professional victims.
White people invented the internet you're using to complain about white people. Hashtag the triggering.
All right, guys. Here are the 7 things. So, your feelings are largely irrelevant. Nobody who already has graduated from college cares about your feelings. That means that when you complain about your boss because your coworker misgendered you, he's probably not going to bend over backwards to bandage your wounds. Given feelings are entirely subjective in nature, it's completely unreasonable to demand everyone tiptoe around you to prevent you from being hurt. The reality is that people will offend you and hurt your feelings, and they won't stop to mop up your tears because they shouldn't have to. Learning to accept criticism, alternate viewpoints, and even outright insults will make you happier in the long run than routinely playing the victim card.
I mean, yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
Untrue, yeah. That's legitimate.
Okay. Here's one. You cannot be whatever you want to be. This is a comforting lie parents start telling their children to boost their morale in school. Unfortunately, millennials are now convinced it's true, especially as society has now decided to push this narrative as well. The reality is, if you're 17 years old and still can't figure out basic division, you're not going to be a rocket scientist. If you're overweight and unattractive, you're not going to be the quarterback's prom date. If you lack fine motor skills, you're not going to be a heart surgeon. It's okay to accept that you cannot be whatever you want to be. In fact, once you accept this, you'll be able to focus on the things that you can be, the things that you're really talented at. All right, Dusty. Here's one that's going to piss off Dion, and I want your opinion as soon as I'm done reading it, Dion. Gender studies is a waste of money. You heard me! While some millennials taking useless degrees will claim they're beneficial for teaching or research positions, the reality is that they just put themselves several $1,000s in debt to learn how to be a professional victim. While you're struggling to make ends meet after graduating because nobody who pays more than minimum wage is interested in your qualifications and you're drowning in student loan debt, be sure to check out the next harsh reality before you start complaining.
Well, I think that it's probably some poor fat dude who's living in his basement who fucking got his butthole tickled by another guy at some point or whatever. But no, yeah, if you're fucking...
Oh, so now child molestation is funny to you.
Well, I mean...
Yeah, so you won't...
Anything to belittle a differing opinion.
No, seriously, keep going on, man who thinks pedophilia is funny.
Well, isn't that kind of your thing? Don't you like anime and shit like that?
He likes rape.
I don't know what kind of shit you've been watching, but send it my way.
I will. But yeah, if your degree is gender studies, you might want to complement that with something.
You know, Jake used to talk about his gender studies classes, and I would just walk away. Because everything Jake has said to me was interesting, except when it starts with my gender studies class. Because that's not even a real class. That's like me saying, oh, that class I took on Martian languages was really important. It's a fucking stupid course, dude. And I took some stupid fucking courses in college.
I used to hang out with a pastor, and he'd come in to where I worked, and he would make fun of the people that bought lottery tickets, because he'd call it a poor person tax. Essentially, gender studies is that same thing. It's for idiots. It's the college's way of taking more of their money.
I don't like it when schools try to integrate that with, like, any other subject. Like I told you, I took an entertainment course just for the hell of it to get one of the credits I needed, and it turned into gender studies, and I was like, fuck this shit. And did you hear that Notre Dame is getting rid of gym, and now you have to take a cultural...
That is ridiculous.
...sensitivity course? I feel like we were just like 5 years too late from being completely retarded. Okay, so if you live in America, you're already in the 1%. That's right. Even though you work at McDonald's for minimum wage because you got a useless, outrageously expensive college degree, you're still far better off than a vast majority of the planet. Don't believe me? Fly to Uganda and check out the living conditions there. Fly to China, Saudi Arabia, North Korea, Iran, Russia, or even European countries like the Ukraine and Greece, and you'll quickly discover how just how well off you are. While it may be cool these days to dump on capitalism, it's the only reason...
Capitalism is so goddamn beautiful.
It's really important, though. I mean, all joking aside, I mean, if you don't have a reason to be better at something, then you don't...
It's the only economic system that rewards motivation, and, man, I love it. Love this country.
I mean, all joking aside... Well, I don't go that far, but all joking aside, I mean... If I wasn't motivated, we wouldn't have this fucking show. I could be like, I'm just gonna wait for someone else to have my opinion, but then I'm gonna take all the credit. So here's number 5. You don't have a right to it just because you exist. That includes healthcare, guaranteed income, and somewhere to live. Just because you're here and breathing doesn't mean society owes you anything. Like the billions of people who lived before you, working hard is a better guarantor of wealth and ability to comfortably take care of yourself than begging society or the government to do it for you. Demanding health care be right, for example, is equivalent to demanding government forces the taxpayers to pay for it. While that may seem good, like a good idea in theory, it only leads to rationing of care when costs become unsustainable, which negatively impacts not just your health, but everyone else's.
I agree.
Any opinion?
I remember they called it the Affordable Health Care Act, and then my family's premium doubled. So, still a little sour about that one.
And then they're like, oh, you got to pay $1,400 in fines and shit if you don't have it by a certain date. It's ridiculous. Here we go. You do have the right to live as you please, but not to demand people accept it. By contrast, you do have the right to live however you please, so long as it's within the confines of the law. If you want to cross-dress, smoke marijuana, drink lots of alcohol, have lots of sex, and yes, even go to school for gender studies, then by all means, go for it. The government should not be allowed to legislate people's behavior as long as it doesn't infringe upon people's rights. But that doesn't mean society isn't allowed to have an opinion. You don't have the right to demand people keep their opinions about your lifestyle to themselves, especially if you're open and public about it. I have as much right to comment on the way you live is the way you live your life as you have to actually live it. Your feelings are not protected, but my speech is. So, in other words, if you watch The Room and they tell you to keep your stupid comments in your pocket, you tell that person to fuck off, because you have the right to say what you want. And here we go, Dion, this is for you. This is the only reason we read this article. The only safe space is your home. No matter where you go in life, someone will be there to offend you. Maybe it's a joke that you overheard on vacation, a spat at the office, or a difference in opinion with someone in line at the grocery store. Inevitably, someone will offend you in your values. If you cannot handle that without losing control of your emotions and reverting back to your safe space away from the harmful words of others, then it's best for you to just stay at home. Remember, though, if people in the outside world scare you, people on the internet will downright terrify you. It's probably best to just accept these harsh realities of life and go into the world prepared to confront them.
Damn.
Well, all right, that's a great list.
Dion, I just wanted to read this to you to get you to think, like, it's cool to be progressive, man. It's cool to care about everybody, but not at
Agreed, but it's also, you can't blindly follow the rich people that tell you, oh yeah, it's real easy for you, the poor person, to become rich, and it's real easy. Just, you have to work hard. You know, that you got to temper that just as much.
It's not about working hard, it's about working smart. You got to know what you want in life. And if you know what you want in life, but if you can figure out what you want in life early on or at any point in time, then you can figure out a plan how to get it. But knowing what you want is the most important thing. And when we get a group of people, generation-wise, that are so focused on these other fake, fictional fucking problems, it's a distraction to, like, what they could really get done if they actually thought about what they want and what their goals are. So I brought this shit up to basically say, everybody that bitches on our videos that says we're insensitive, everyone that bitches on any video that says insensitive, fuck off and focus on something real. You know?
Lose weight.
Oh, I don't like fat shaming. Okay, I was going to say something else along those lines, but Dan said it best. Just, stop making yourself out to be a victim, okay? You're special in certain ways, but not to the point where society has to change the way it thinks and acts just to make you feel safe at night. We live in a stupid time, and this Ghostbusters reboot is the fucking epitome of that shit, We have to live in a world where we have to get shit that we like fucked over because of
Luckily, we have
local
fans,
minority.
though, that don't fit into the kind of groups of people that we've been talking about tonight. We have, I'm just reading all the comments, the most thoughtful, intelligent, conscientious people on the net, and I am so sorry they have to listen to Dion every week.
Yeah, because what we should do is we should replace, every time Dion talks, we should just have your dialogue about, or your opening about Rorschach and period blood play.
Nothing.
And it'll just start at random times,
people want to challenge, and I'm just not going to listen to the challenge, and then you guys covering over when I challenge your thought.
No. Here's what I heard Dion say tonight. I heard him say the word fag, and I heard him say the phrase gay people are, and then I forget what insult he hurled. But Jeff, can you do me a favor? Can you isolate those sound bites and put them in the new opening that's eventually going to kick off the show?
Make sure you follow it up with Dustin's use of retarded and period blood and all that other stuff,
I
too.
don't say much.
Spread the love, baby. Spread the love.
Now, Dion, I was going to give you the benefit of the doubt. I was going to use all those for you, but for Dustin it was going to be... Dan, what was the catchphrase I was going to use? There you go. We can all poke fun at ourselves. That's the
thing.
thing about
if
the
you
fucking
can't
internet.
poke fun at yourself, then what the fuck are you doing here? Quit being a little bitch.
If you can't
take
poke
shit
fun
so
at
serious,
yourself,
it's just
get
fucking
off the
words,
internet.
you know?
You will not like it.
But I will say this, being offended is not a form of activism. If
Fucking
you're offended,
get over
tough
it.
shit, It's time to put this baby to bed. This has been World Class Bullshitters. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can follow us on Facebook and Twitter using the hashtag WCBS. And you can email us at worldclassbs@mail.com. The best mail.
Now make sure that you guys like and subscribe to the video and to the Facebook and Twitter pages, and try to force us to go see Ghostbusters. And make sure to come up with your very own the triggering hashtags, and we will read the best ones on air next week.
I'm so glad our movie theater allows alcohol now.
Oh, me too. I'm gonna get shit. Hey, Phil, I'm gonna need you to pick me up for Ghostbusters.
I'll go
blast
Blasters too,
it.
and I'll drive. I'm cool.
Cool, I feel safe with you driving blasted.
Do you think cocaine is
Please don't do that. I want to make sure that Jeff comes back and Phil doesn't have a random diabetic episode or some shit.
cocaine would make the movie better, or would it make it like feel longer because you're in the moment so much?
It would drag it out.
Oh, damn it.
Right, yes.
It's pretty addictive. What?
That's what I hear.
Dustin or Dion, if all goes well, I may come visit you
Fuck yeah,
in
man.
July,
Like that.
and we'll just go see it
This
together.
may be the one movie that I walk out of. I'm apparently friends with dead Clint Eastwood.
World Class Bullshitters is the last bastion of masculinity on the internet. Make sure to tune in every week. Watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu and vote Donald Trump 2016.
What the fuck?